Welcome to Larry's Library. This time we are looking at book one of Jeff Lemire's Bone Orchard Mythos series. So this time I read The Passageway. So this one was done by Image. It is 96 pages. The MSRP on it is $17.99. It's a skinny boy. Now, if you get it from InStockTrades.com, my preferred vendor, they have it right now at the time shooting for $10.43. So that's the way you probably want to go. So as I said, this one is written by Jeff Lemire with art by Andrea Sorrentino. I would say fan favorite Andrea Sorrentino for sure. Even if lately he's been a little controversial because there has been some accusations that he's using AI art in some of his more recent stuff. I don't really have much of an opinion about that. I've looked at it a lot and I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. I really wish he would release a statement about it. If he did, I haven't seen it. I did a little cursory Googling earlier, and I couldn't find anything where he came out and said whether he did or he did not. If you know, post that below. If you have any insight into where I can read more about that, if he has issued a statement or not on that controversy. Now, as I understand it, this one is an OGN, an original graphic novel. It is not serialized in single-issue comics like a lot of books are. This came out in this format, and it is a standard size hardcover. As you know, not my favorite format, but there you go. Now, I will say it's a pretty robust little hardcover. It's skinny, and it's standard sized, but it does not have a dust jacket, which I prefer not to have that. The art is baked right on, which is nice. And it's got a good, strong binding. Had no issues with that. So the plot on this one involves this geologist who is called out to investigate this really large, or really deep, I should say, not large, a really deep hole that has appeared on this small island, where this lighthouse is. And so he's sent out there, and he meets the caretaker, Sal, who has been living there for over 25 years by herself in this creepy little island with this rundown lighthouse with a busted light. And recently she discovered this huge and deep hole just appeared, where before there were large rocks. The rocks are gone. Now there's a big hole. So I guess she called someone, and they sent out this geologist to take a look at it. He brings some equipment with him, some stuff to do soil samples, and a drone. And immediately he sends that drone down there, and it starts measuring the depth. It gets to 60 feet, and he loses the drone. Now, that's about as much of the plot as I am willing to give away here, because I don't like to do too many spoilers in these reviews. But it is a really intriguing story, and you get to know this character a lot, the geologist. You find out he is suffering from some childhood trauma where he lost his mother at a very young age, and that figures into his fear of the water, and on like that. So there is a lot of character development that goes on here, and the plot is creepy. It is a horror series for sure. Love the art, love the atmosphere. My biggest issue with it probably is that it's so short. And I realize this is just book one of the Bone Orchard Mythos, so I'm assuming there's a lot more. I mean, I have 2 more books I'm going to read myself. I don't know. I think it's 2 more. So I'm not sure how many there's going to be altogether. Looking forward to reading the next installment. But, as a standalone book, it's a little bit unsatisfying. I mean, the ending is not at all what you'd call satisfying. A lot of weird and interesting things are explored in this. But I think we're dealing with here another book with a sort of a kind of a non-ending, or a very dissatisfying ending. So I'm not sure I can recommend this as a standalone book. I mean, if you're in for Lemire and Sorrentino, which I'm sure a lot of people are, I am, then you're planning on getting all of it and reading all of it. But just to pick up the book and read it, you're going to be like, that's it? That's that's all we're getting? So yeah, so if you go into it knowing what to expect, in that you're not going to have a very satisfying ending here. And this is, if you look at it just as chapter 1 of the Bone Orchard Mythos, then you're probably going to be pretty happy with this book. And I think you're going to be happy with the Sorrentino art here. It doesn't shout AI to me, but I don't think those accusations came up till a little bit more of his later work. It happened a little bit later, a few years after this one. When I read a lot of the Jeff Lemire stuff, I always want to say, well, it feels like a Twilight Zone episode. And I mean that in a good way, because I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan, and I'm betting that Jeff Lemire is too. But here, it is very much like a Twilight Zone episode, except Twilight Zone episodes generally have a better ending, you know, but because they're not multi-part stories like what he's doing here. So it's probably not a very fair comparison, but, you know, with Jeff Lemire writing, I can't help but think of some of the great Twilight Zone episodes. And I also can't help but think how great it would be if they did a new Twilight Zone, you know, and with a good budget behind it, and they let Jeff Lemire write a lot of it. That would be great. But yeah, the art did impress me, and it is very creepy and moody, as you would expect from Sorrentino if you've read much of his other stuff. If you've seen much of his art before, you're going to get more of that, and it is fabulous. So I can recommend this to someone as long as you're in for the long haul, because you're not going to get a big payoff with just this first book. So as a standalone original graphic novel, I can't really give this one better than a 7. I'm going to say 7 out of 10 for me. It's a good start. So this was a quick one. It's a short book. It's a very quick read. 96 pages isn't much. I feel like it should have been longer and a little bit more meat on those bones, and I'd have been happier. But as it is, it was a quick read, and it was fun while it lasted. So hope you like taking a quick look at this one, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already done that, and give me a thumbs up if you liked it. And I'll see you next time.